In 1928, Manhattan's construction workers thought they were building just another office tower. Lunch pails clanged against steel girders. Rivets flew red hot through the air. The familiar symphony of hammers and cranes echoed between the canyon walls of Midtown streets. But high above the city, in a space hidden from every eye, so something extraordinary was taking shape. Piece by piece, section by section, craftsmen were assembling what would become the most stunning crown ever placed atop a New York building. The workers below had no idea. The press suspected nothing. Even the city's building inspectors were kept in the dark. Only a handful of men knew that, when the scaffolding finally came down, Manhattan would wake up to find its skyline forever changed by a secret that had been hiding in plain sight. Manhattan in 1928 was a city transformed by ambition. The skyline erupted with construction as dozens of skyscrapers clawed their way upward, each striving to outreach the last. This wasn't just a building boom, it was a race to touch the heavens, fueled by the prosperity and unbridled optimism of the Roaring Twenties. America had emerged from World War I as an economic powerhouse, and nowhere was this new confidence more visible than in the vertical explosion of New York City. The streets below teemed with the energy of a nation convinced of its limitless potential. Prohibition might have banned alcohol, but it couldn't dampen the intoxicating spirit of an era defined by jazz, flappers, and an economy that seemed capable only of rising higher. And in this atmosphere of competitive ambition, no prize was more coveted than the title of world's tallest building. Into this arena stepped Walter Percy Chrysler, a man who had already reshaped America through the power of his automotive empire. Chrysler understood the language of steel and chrome, of precision engineering, and the poetry of streamlined design. His automobiles represented the pinnacle of American manufacturing. Sleek, powerful machines that married technical excellence with artistic beauty. Now he sought to translate that same vision into architecture. The corner of 42nd Street and Lexington Avenue, where Chrysler set his sights, was unremarkable, home to the modest Reynolds Building and surrounded by the everyday commerce of Manhattan. Few could have imagined that this ordinary intersection would soon become the site of one of the most extraordinary architectural achievements in history. Chrysler didn't just want an office building. He wanted a monument that would capture the essence of American innovation, a vertical embodiment of the same principles that had made his cars the envy of the world. For this audacious vision, Chrysler turned to architect William Van Allen, a man whose bold ideas had earned him the nickname the Ziegfeld of his profession. Van Allen's proposal was revolutionary, a skyscraper that would function not just as an office tower but as a colossal work of art. His design embraced the emerging Art Deco aesthetic, with geometric patterns and machine-age motifs that would celebrate the industrial prowess that had made America great. But hidden within Van Allen's blueprints was something unprecedented, plans for a secret crown that would be assembled inside the upper floors of the building itself. This telescoping spire would remain concealed until the final moment, when it would be raised to the sky in a single dramatic gesture. It was architectural theater on a scale never before attempted, a daring gambit to secure the height record through surprise and innovation. The materials chosen for this crowning glory were as audacious as the concept. The building would showcase the first major architectural application of Nerasta steel, an early form of stainless steel that would maintain its brilliant luster despite decades of exposure to the elements. The crown would feature distinctive triangular windows that would allow light to flood the upper stories, creating a jewel-like effect when illuminated from within. Walter Chrysler committed his personal fortune to the project, understanding that this was more than just a commercial venture. It was to be his legacy, a permanent mark on the skyline of America's greatest city. While the public blueprints showed one height, the actual plans remained a closely guarded secret, known only to Chrysler, Van Allen, and a trusted circle of craftsmen and engineers. Even city officials and building inspectors were kept in the dark about the true final dimensions of the structure. Beneath this glittering vision of architectural glory lay a more complex human story. The site's development meant displacement for the small businesses and residents who had called the Reynolds Building home. Tailors, shopkeepers, and modest apartments were cleared away to make room for Chrysler's monument, the invisible cost of progress that rarely makes its way into historical accounts. The construction itself relied on the strength and courage of an immigrant workforce. Italian stonecutters, Irish riveters, and Eastern European steelworkers formed the backbone of the labor force. These men ascended to terrifying heights each day, walking across narrow beams hundreds of feet above Lexington Avenue with no safety harnesses, just their balance, skill, and determination. Their names went largely unrecorded, their contributions anonymous despite the permanent nature of their work. Among the most skilled of these high-altitude workers were the Mohawk ironworkers from the Kanawha Reserve near Montreal. These Native American craftsmen possessed an uncanny ability to work at great heights without fear, a tradition that began generations earlier and continues to this day. They helped shape the building's skeleton, their expertise crucial to its successful completion, yet their contribution remained largely unacknowledged in the official narrative. Women, too, played vital roles that history has often overlooked. Female architects and designers contributed to the building's intricate detailing. Women crafted many of the decorative elements that would make the Chrysler Building a masterpiece of Art Deco design. Yet in the male-dominated construction industry of the 1920s, their names rarely appeared on plans or in press accounts. All this unfolded against a backdrop of stark economic inequality. While millions were lavished on the building's ornamental features, custom metalwork, marble lobbies, and bespoke elevator doors, the workers who brought these visions to life struggled to support their families on Depression-era wages. The irony was not lost on many that, as the building reached ever higher, the economic foundation of the country was beginning to crack beneath it. The engineering challenges were formidable. Building at such heights with 1920s technology required innovative solutions for every aspect of construction. Wind forces at upper levels demanded new approaches to structural bracing. The foundation work had to support unprecedented weight. Simply transporting materials to such heights required custom-designed hoists and elevators. Perhaps most remarkable was the secret assembly of the crown itself. In hidden chambers within the upper floors, skilled craftsmen worked to prepare the sections of the spire that would ultimately be raised through the building's core. This work had to be conducted with absolute discretion. Any leak to the press or competing architects could spoil the dramatic reveal that Chrysler and Van Allen had planned. The weather added another layer of difficulty. Workers endured brutal winter conditions, with biting winds and freezing temperatures magnified by the height. Ice formed on steel beams, making them treacherously slippery. Snow accumulated on partially completed floors. Through summer heat and winter cold, the work continued without pause. Coordinating the delivery and installation of specialized materials created logistical nightmares. The custom metalwork for the crown, those iconic eagle gargoyles, and the distinctive radiating arches had to be manufactured off-site, transported through the congested streets of Manhattan, and then hoisted to their final positions with perfect precision. All these challenges were compounded by the pressure of secrecy. Workers couldn't openly discuss the most complex aspects of the project. Engineers couldn't consult as widely as they might have preferred. The true blueprints remained locked away, creating an additional layer of complexity in a project already pushing the boundaries of what was possible. As the Chrysler Building rose floor by floor, a fierce competition was unfolding downtown. The Bank of Manhattan building at 40 Wall Street, designed by Van Allen's former partner H. Craig Severance, was simultaneously climbing skyward. This professional rivalry added personal drama to what was already a compelling public spectacle. Each day, newspapers tracked the progress of both buildings, reporting each new floor as though covering a sporting event. Bets were placed on which tower would ultimately claim the height crown. Yet both Chrysler and the Bank of Manhattan's builders kept their final heights secret, each hoping to outmaneuver the other in this high-stakes architectural poker game. The rivalry between Van Allen and Severance was particularly intense. Once partners in an architectural firm, they had split acrimoniously, and the race to build the tallest structure in the world became as much about personal vindication as architectural achievement. Their competing visions, Severance's more traditional approach versus Van Allen's flamboyant Art Deco statement, represented different philosophies about what the American skyscraper should be. Then came Black Thursday, October 24th, 1929. As steelworkers continued to assemble the Chrysler Building's framework, the stock market crashed, initiating the Great Depression. The economic collapse cast a shadow over the city's building boom. Suddenly, these soaring towers seemed like monuments to excess in an age of newfound austerity. Critics questioned whether such ornate buildings were practical or necessary as unemployment soared and breadlines formed. Yet construction continued. Walter Chrysler had committed his personal fortune to the project, and he remained determined to see it completed as planned, even as the economic landscape shifted dramatically beneath him. This persistence in the face of changing circumstances reflected the same determination that had made him an automotive pioneer. Then came the moment of transformation. In October 1929, with the Bank of Manhattan building celebrating its claim to be the world's tallest at 927 feet, the Chrysler Building revealed its secret. In just 90 minutes, the hidden spire was raised through the building's core and assembled in place. Without warning or announcement, the Chrysler Building now soared to 1,046 feet, claiming the title of world's tallest structure. Manhattan awoke to find its skyline forever altered. The gleaming stainless steel crown, with its 7 radiating arches forming a sunburst pattern, captured the imagination of the city and the world. The audacious gambit had worked. The building's distinctive silhouette became instantly recognizable, a symbol of American ingenuity, ambition, and artistic vision. The victory celebration was bittersweet, coming just days before the stock market crash that would define the era. The building stood as a final exclamation point on the Roaring Twenties, completed just as the economic party came to a crashing halt. Yet perhaps this timing made the achievement all the more poignant, a lasting monument to an era of limitless optimism. The Chrysler Building's architectural impact was immediate and enduring. Its Art Deco styling, from the distinctive crown to the eagle gargoyles to the custom elevator doors depicting racing cars, proved that a functional office building could also be a work of art. The structure influenced skyscraper design for decades, showing that beauty and utility could coexist even at extreme heights. The building quickly transcended its role as corporate headquarters to become a cultural symbol, an embodiment of the American spirit. Its gleaming crown represented the nation's technical prowess, creative vision, and unwavering optimism, even in the face of economic hardship. The building seemed to say that despite the Depression, America's potential remained as boundless as its skyline. Yet the Chrysler Building's reign as the world's tallest structure would be brief. Within months, the Empire State Building would surpass it, reaching 1,250 feet. But in many ways, this quick succession only emphasized the extraordinary pace of American ambition during this period, a time when the title of world's tallest might change hands twice in a single year. Nearly a century later, the Chrysler Building remains one of New York's most beloved and photographed structures. Its distinctive profile has become shorthand for the city itself, instantly recognizable around the world. While taller buildings have come to dominate the Manhattan skyline, none have matched the Chrysler Building's perfect marriage of height and beauty, engineering and art. Walter Chrysler's personal investment in the building, both financial and emotional, came at a cost. The Great Depression hit his automobile company hard, and the resources committed to the skyscraper contributed to his financial challenges. Yet the building outlasted these temporary setbacks, becoming a more enduring legacy than even his automotive empire. Maintaining the building's intricate metalwork and decorative elements requires constant care and significant expense. The stainless steel crown must be regularly cleaned and polished. The distinctive eagle gargoyles require specialized maintenance. The ornate lobby, with its rare marbles and custom fixtures, demands ongoing restoration work. Preserving this architectural treasure has become a multi generational commitment. Today, the Chrysler Building stands as a monument to a unique moment in American history, the Roaring Twenties, when the nation believed it could build anything and reach any height. It captures the spirit of an era when architecture was expected to inspire as well as shelter, to elevate the human spirit through beauty and daring. Behind the gleaming facade lies a tale of vision, sacrifice, and the countless workers whose skill and courage made the impossible real. Their names may be lost to history, but their achievement remains, a spire that still catches the light of the rising and setting sun, a crown atop the city that never sleeps, a secret finally revealed that continues to inspire wonder nearly a century later.